Name is Pierre de Rochefort, an American, despite the name, French background, French father. My title here is Information Management and Training Senior Officer within the Disaster and Crisis Management Department. I think the surprise to me most recently has been the pace of technological change and social media, how that's injected sort of a huge element of keeping up, the pace of change and the need to just stay abreast of things. And in fact, a bit of seems like we're on a wave, surfing a wave that we're, it's going faster and faster, and are we able to stay on top of it? That's debatable whether we are, but just that pace of change, and is that driving us? Are we driving it? And how do we manage to grab hold of all this, what is great technology and great ways of doing things, but almost too much sometimes to absorb and respond to in a way that we feel is added value, and that we're actually managing rather than just responding to. I think that's a new aspect that is a source of surprise and concern to me, and I think many colleagues would say the same thing. I think that one example of that is mobile phones, and the technology that's coming out, applications via mobile phones, and the people's beneficiaries who the folks we're working with have access to information that is so fast and so quick, and it's so wide, and the challenge is if an operation hits in Nepal, and we think in terms, I think here, of still doing assessments in a fairly kind of standard, rudimentary, straightforward way that we've done for years and years, and yet there's a whole push to use mobile technology and various systems, RAMP being one of them, to harvest all that information that's out there waiting, that we've always had difficulty getting via the sort of more straightforward assessment tools that we use, which are now quite redundant and seem almost dinosaurish in a way. So you see the promise of the mobile technology and use of mobile phones, which is in any country, whether it's Asia or Africa, is so widespread. And you see the promise there, and the difficulty is making that connection to actually how we access all that great information, and the folks who have these phones, and how do we turn around that access to designing programs and interventions and activities and the things we're trying to deliver in a way that meets their needs and makes linkages with the technology they have. Again, huge challenge. I mean, if I was to say one thing, it would be this might seem contradictory in nature, but slow things down just a little bit. If I was to myself say we need a little bit of a collective breath on what we're looking at. We never will get to that point. That's the nature of the beast, is things are being driven by other forces, market forces and technology forces. So I would still, I sometimes wish, and I say it to myself all the time here, could we just stop for a minute what we're doing, instead of all racing around? I mean, this sort of treadmill we're on, where it goes faster and faster. And I think it leads to further just inefficiencies and lack of consistency and what we're doing here. I'm talking about the Red Cross and maybe this little corner, our little corner of the humanitarian world. But I think we would be hugely benefited by just a sort of, somebody showing some leadership perhaps and saying, stop for a minute and think what you're doing and get your minds around this. But it's almost anathema, I think, to people who are elected to do that because they consider it might not be innovative enough, or might show that they're not embracing the pace of change, and that might be a good point. But I don't know. So that's one thing is I personally wish we could sort of step back and just not stop, but sort of take a look at what we're all doing. That's not going to happen in the short term. So what do we do in the meantime is try to come together in some sort of form and fashion to develop those coordination mechanisms and tools that will fill the gaps, whether it's within the Red Cross family or across the whole humanitarian world. And BBR is one very small but pretty significant way of trying to promote that type of thing.